Hi guys, today we're going to be talking about rhetorical analysis. So this might be a new concept for some of you. If you've had AP language, there's a good chance that you have heard about the rhetorical appeals and what rhetoric is. Being that we are in the writing and rhetoric department, this is a big part of the course, and it seems like something that might not necessarily apply to you. But you'll see as we get into it and learn more about what rhetoric is. This is something that you can use both in your future writing classes, in your future papers, because you're going to be writing papers no matter what your major is. And you're going to have to be persuasive. So rhetoric is the study of arguments. For the purpose of this class, we are going to be discussing how arguments work, how we appeal to our audience, and that will help you with your future argumentative papers. This will also help you depending on what your job is. If you are going into business, if you have to persuade people in certain ways, then thinking about the rhetorical appeals, thinking about how to appeal to your audience and how to send a message to them is going to be super important for you to get across what you need to get across, or to persuade them in a certain way. And we'll see that argument exists everywhere. So one big thing in this class, and some of you will see it right away, and some of you will definitely latch onto it later, but we'll find out that everything is an argument. You're probably like, Professor, how is everything an argument? Like, my socks aren't an argument. Well, that's where you're wrong. Everything we do and everything we experience is an argument in some way. We're trying to be persuasive in some way or get a certain point across. And that's what I want you to think about. Maybe not argument in the traditional sense, arguing back and forth, or we think about lawyers, we think about arguing with our parents, our girlfriend, boyfriend, siblings. We've all been in an argument in some way, shape, or form in our lives, where this argument is a little bit more subtle and different. And as we go on in our lessons and throughout the semester, we're going to see how those arguments take shape and develop. So let's think about, since normally what happens is I would ask somebody to tell me about what they're wearing and why they wore it. But now that we are at home, things are a little bit different. So let's take me for example, because obviously I can't see you. I'm just talking to my phone. So let's take me. I still try to dress, at least from the waist up, like I'm in a classroom. So I have like a nice blouse on, I have a jacket on, I have my hair and my makeup done, and you're probably like, why would she do that if she's sitting at home talking to her phone? Well, I want to give off the appearance that I am professional, that you're learning from somebody who knows what they're talking about and who's not like a bum, I mean, if I were to shoot these videos in my pajamas and look bummy, my hair wouldn't be done or my makeup is, not there, I would A, look younger, and B, look unprofessional, and C, probably look like I don't know what I'm talking about. And if I looked like that and presented myself that way, especially in this kind of environment, would you believe the stuff that I'm saying? It might be a little bit harder for you to trust a professor that looks like they don't care. And that's part of the reason why I try to make it look like I am a professional person. And so that would be an argument. I'm trying to persuade you to believe that I know what I'm talking about. And I do. I really do. I've been doing this for a long time. So don't get me wrong here. This is not some sort of like smoke and mirrors thing. I promise. My degrees and my letters of recommendation and stuff and my resume should justify my being here. Anyway, okay, so besides the point. So let's continue with this argument and like self-analysis I have going on. So yes, I am dressed in a professional way. You can actually see my ripped jeans right there. So that sort of negates the complete professional look, but you know, it's what I had on. And typically you can't see all that. Anyway, but, and I also have pink hair. So this was some quarantine fun that I decided to get into, is like probably a lot of you were bored and figured that I wasn't going out very much. And like, I've always wanted to put a little bit of like crazy color in my hair. And it shows that like, I'm still young, still having fun, blah, 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 but I don't know. To me, I did it because I always was an emo kid at heart, and like I've always wanted to do this, but like growing up, you know, I wasn't allowed to. So putting some fun color in my hair sort of, it kind of makes me feel a little bit more like alternative and emo, even at this age when, you know, it's not a practical thing and like nobody's really emo anymore, right? So that is sort of an argument or a message or a thing that I'm persuading other people, or maybe just myself, that like emo isn't dead and, you know, I still sort of got it, right? Okay, so enough about my self-analysis. Like, I'm sure it's getting weird now. And if you have to look up what emo is, then like, please send me an email. I will tell you all about it, and I will give you a playlist, and you'll probably hate it, but like, let me tell you, like, this was the stuff that my high school little soul is made of. Okay, so back to like actual rhetorical analysis. So there are 4 appeals that we use to describe an argument, or types of ways that we persuade our audience. And these are called the rhetorical appeals. And so we will go over those. So the first rhetorical appeal is ethos, which means credibility. So if you think of a movie trailer, and we'll be doing this in one of our assignments, is when we see a movie trailer and it talks about who's starring in that movie, who's the director, if they've won any awards, that's a really great example of credibility. Or another way to think of ethos is somebody's authority or their reputation. So if you know, if we all agree, or we know that Brad Pitt makes really good movies, and so does Quentin Tarantino. So if you look at Inglourious Bastards and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, we expect them to be good movies because we know that Quentin Tarantino makes awesome movies, and we know that Brad Pitt is a great actor. So you put those 2 factors together, and that persuades an audience to want to see that movie. Another example would be, we listen to, for example, a scientist talk about scientific things and give us our recommendations because he or she has a reputation for like knowledge, and the fact that they studied something shows that they should be a credible source of information about that subject, i.e. science. Okay, so our next rhetorical appeal is, let me turn the page here. Logos. So this is, if you studied language before, this is a cognate. So logos sounds like logic. So just to go back to ethos real quick. So ethos sounds like ethics. And a lot of people think ethos ethics, which is not necessarily true. Ethos is credibility or reputation or, you know, somebody's credentials. Okay, so logos, and just to note that all of these words that we're talking about are Greek. So the rhetorical appeals and rhetorical analysis is something that started in the Greek tradition. So logos means logic. These, like I said, this is a cognate. So these words, you can think logos and logic because they sound the same. So this is where you're going to have numbers, facts, things that can be proven, things that kind of target your logical brain. So, like I said, facts, numbers, statistics, provable information. And so this is how, so I use the example of a scientist when I'm talking about ethos. So the scientist as a person has ethos. They are a credible source. What the scientist says is logos. And we kind of will see how the rhetorical appeals all fit together and work together. So our next rhetorical appeal is pathos. So this is an emotional appeal. So the biggest, most prominent use of pathos is those in the arms of an angel dog commercials for like the AKC like Humane Society commercials. You know, the really sad ones where all the dogs look like they're half dead and they're so sad, and all you want to do is adopt every single animal in those videos and give them all the hugs and all the treats and tell them they're the best boy or girl. Like, I don't know about you, but those commercials and those shows are like the most devastating things on television. Well, one of the most devastating things on television. We got a lot of sad stuff going on. But anyway, so that is pure pathos. It's that emotional appeal, that sad thing that like, or it could be happy. It could be anything that triggers an emotional response is going to be pathos. And by the time we're done with writing 1050, I expect you to know these terms just as good or just as well as you know your name. We're going to be hitting them hard. Okay, so our last rhetorical appeal is kairos. So this might be something that you have not heard of before. It means right time and right place. So there's so many things that are happening in our world that would not have made sense 6 months ago or a year ago, or sometimes like with the way the news is, like wouldn't have made sense a week ago. That is an example of pathos. So right now is the right time to be talking about a pandemic, like something none of us, and probably unless you're lucky enough to have great grandparents alive, or great aunts or great uncles, or like, you know, relatives that are close to centurions, nobody has really experienced a pandemic like what we're experiencing now. So talking things that we associate with the pandemic, that we talk about, like this is the right time and right place to be having these conversations. This is the right time and right place to be fully online, right? At least for this class. Anyway, so a really good example of kairos is meme culture. How long do memes normally last? Okay, so there was that one exception where we were talking about what was it? Area 41? Okay, like, I don't know. I feel like it happened so long ago that I can't remember exactly the right number. But you know what I'm talking about. And like, there were the Kyles and there were the Karens, and then there was like those crazy runners and the aliens, and like, it was hilarious. And that stuff lasted a couple weeks, like at least. And like, that is totally unheard of for meme culture. But for the most part, the memes that we listen to, or the memes that we see, only last like a short period of time. Like, grandma fell in the bathtub. Like, that was really popular, I think the last time I taught this course. So, like last semester. And then that only lasted like a couple days. Like, we had all these grandma memes, and then like, boom, they were gone. Which I don't hate. You know, you can think about any sort of meme out there and how long it lasts, and how it's only good in a certain time and place. So you can have things that have you know, ethos and logos, or ethos, logos, and pathos. You can see how they all work together, but not everything will have kairos. Kairos is sort of tricky and sort of like over here in comparison to the rest of them. So like I said, like all of these rhetorical appeals sort of work together, but you can, like I said, you can have them exist without kairos. Sometimes things are, quote, timeless, or they can exist in different times and spaces and still make sense, unlike a meme. Like sometimes memes only make sense in a certain time and a certain place. Otherwise they are just passé, or not popular anymore. Two, you can have elements that are more than one rhetorical appeal. So like the scientist example that I gave you, it can be both logic, to listen to or the scientist is saying logical facts, something that's provable. The fact that they have a degree in science or that they've devoted their career to studying a certain thing means that they have that credibility. And also sometimes the things that they say can be startling, surprising. They can make you feel like sad or happy depending on what the subject is. And then we have an emotional response. Or, you can, but that's the thing is like, once you start seeing these rhetorical appeals and how they work and how they are in every single part of our lives, from the way that we dress and the way that we wear our hair to the way that ads on Facebook or Instagram are targeted towards you specifically based on your your gender, your preferences, your socioeconomic status. We'll get into this more as we talk about audience and stuff like that. This is just, an introduction video to give you sort of an idea of what the rhetorical appeals are, why they are important, and why we study them. So kind of go back to that, why we study these, and how it affects your writing. So once you figure out like how to appeal to a certain audience, then it changes the way you write. It also changes the way you think and changes the way you look at society. And like, that's why I find this so interesting, because like once you start peeling back those layers and like thinking about why certain things are targeted towards you on the internet, or why we do certain things, or why we have certain societal beliefs, then you start to see these rhetorical appeals everywhere, and you start to see how everything's an argument, and you start to see like you name it, like gender biases, racial biases, all sorts of things that are part of our daily lives, like stereotypes about certain things or certain people, or why we think the way we do, why we believe certain things as a culture, as a society, why things bother us, and sometimes we can't understand why, or like why we're taught certain things, and why the school system is the way it is. Like there's so many things that we can trace back to this idea of the rhetorical appeals and how they appeal to us and how they sort of structure how we live and why we are the way that we are. And I find that fascinating. So these are really big, heady concepts. And like, I don't expect you to be like all in on this like I am. I mean, obviously I've been doing this for a long time and studying it for a long time, blah, blah, blah. But it is really interesting once you start peeling back those layers and seeing through the curtains. And so the following video couple videos that I want you to watch are going to sort of explain rhetoric more, why it's important, why we use it, and where it comes from. And also, so we're going to watch a short video about Plato and how rhetoric became a thing. And we are also going to watch a movie called Thank You for Smoking. So it's an actual like movie. I usually show it in class, and I bought it on Amazon. You should be able to find it. I'm not sure where you can stream it for free exactly. I know that it's like, I think $3 or something to rent on Amazon. And you know, I don't know if you can do like a streaming party or something where you can all watch it. If you're having any problems finding it and you're finding it for free, please let me know, and we will figure something out. Otherwise, you know, I'm sure you guys are tech savvy and you can figure it out yourselves. Probably more so than I am. And from that video, it'll kind of show you how arguments work, why they're persuasive. And so you're going to watch this, and there'll be directions on Moodle, but you're going to watch it and you're going to say where you see the rhetorical appeals and how they worked, and if it was a successful argument or not. And so I think it's a really interesting movie. I think the ideas behind it are really good. There is a lot of swearing in it. J.K. Simmons is in it, and he like has, I mean, that's sort of his character. He swears a lot in like everything he does, except for the, what is it? State Farm, Farmers Insurance. He does not swear in those because that's on TV, or regular TV. What else? Aaron Eckhart is in it. He played Two-Face in one of the Batman movies. He's been in a lot of things. There is a sex scene in it, so just to forewarn you. I mean, you're all adults. It is rated R. Just to let you know, if you have a problem with any of these issues, these elements or scenes, please let me know. We will figure something out. Otherwise, fast forward them, like, but I'm sure you've all seen worse. Like, it's life. So anyway, I'm excited to be talking to you about rhetoric and learning more about it and kind of dissecting all these different parts. As you can see, I get a little nerdy and excited about things, and I hope you do too. Maybe not on my level, but like, that's okay. I'm sure you guys are excited about other things and get nerdy about other things. So this is just mine. Anyway, thank you for sitting through this 20-minute video. I know it's kind of long, but like, if we were in class, it'd be even longer. Pause it if you need to. Probably should have said that earlier. Anyway, yeah. So get excited about rhetoric. We're going to be doing so much of it. You're going to be doing so much of it forever. And like, if you really get into it and start, like I said, peeling back those layers, then you're going to see it everywhere. And it's crazy. It's like the Matrix up in here. So yes, get excited. Dye your hair pink. Think about your clothes when you put them on and why you are wearing them and what you're saying about yourself. And like, even those little things are just like, wow, didn't even think about that. So, all right, I hope you are in for lots of fun and lots of learning and have an open mind about this stuff, and we'll be having lots of fun. All right, take care.